I'll never forget that day. No matter how many years pass, I can still remember like it was yesterday. I was a young woman then, full of life and laughter. I'd learned that from him. He knew what it was like to live, to really live. I think that's why it was so hard to accept his death. As I walked to the tomb that morning, I remembered all the glorious moments of his life I'd been privileged to share. But the dark, damp morning air reminded me of the gloomy day they'd hung him on a cross. They'd killed him. They killed my Jesus. And as I walked along that morning, I felt like they'd killed part of me too. Had it really been just a couple of years since I met him in Galilee? It seemed like so much longer because so much of my life was wrapped up in him. No, that's not true. I think it was just I hadn't really started to live until I met him. That might just go with a life in Magdala. It's a wealthy trade center, you know, rich in fishing and agriculture and a mostly Gentile population. It was definitely a setting more conducive to gaining a rather shady reputation than it was to meeting zealots. So when I met Jesus, I was captivated. I'd never met anyone like him. I followed for days, watching him perform miracles, listening to his teaching, and his teachings were amazing. We'd never heard anything like that. Finally, I got up the courage to ask him to help me. And without any hesitation, he healed me. He cast out my demons, healed me of my infirmities, and made me strong against them. He didn't ask where I was from. He didn't ask what I did. He just healed me. You know, he never did seem concerned about where I was from or what I'd been doing. He was always more interested in where we were going, what we were becoming. After he healed me, I felt so clean, but more than that, I felt whole and worthy and loved. He gave me a whole new life, and I just couldn't seem to let go. So I kept following him. I swore to myself it was just going to be for a couple days. You know how that is. But seldom things turn out the way we planned. I felt myself drawn in as part of their group. Started cooking a meal here and there, taking care of other needs, and before it was over with, I was buying provisions out of my own money. But it didn't feel like my money anymore. I was irreversibly attached to this man. Everything I owned, every ounce of energy I possessed, went to helping him in his ministry. So you see, when they killed him, they killed everything that I'd been living for. And we knew. We knew if they killed him, they'd do the same thing to his followers. So after his death, we scattered. I don't even know where everybody was that day. And I really don't know why I went to the tomb either. I knew if the guards were there, and there would surely be guards there, it would put me in danger and anyone I talked to later. But I hadn't been able to sleep. Even before the sun rose, there were birds singing outside my window. And the sound just drove me crazy. It seemed like all of creation was alive and rejoicing. How could they? Didn't they know? Didn't they know that they killed my Jesus? I couldn't stand it anymore. I got out of bed and started to walk. I thought it would calm me down. It just made it worse. The birds were even louder. And there were these little animals that seemed to be scurrying along the path. They seemed so happy, so innocent, so totally unaware of that cruel tragedy. And it just made me want to cry all the more. I know now they were singing because we weren't. But I didn't understand yet. As I walked along in the dark, it seemed seemed like those happy little animals were trying to tell me something with all that joyful chittering. So, as strange as it seemed, I followed them. And before I knew it, they led me to the tomb, to that terrible place where they laid my Jesus. I didn't want to look. I just wanted to run from the horror of it all. And then I realized the stone was missing, this huge stone. It took several men to put it in place there in front of the tomb. It was just gone. I'd seen it myself, but suddenly it wasn't there. And so I went and I stooped down and I peered into the tomb and realized it was empty. On top of everything else, they'd stolen his body. Where had they put him? It was more than I could bear, so I ran. I ran as fast as I could to Simon, Peter, and John. Surely they would know what to do, wouldn't they? Well, they were mystified. It was still dark, and I woke them up. In their blurry, sleep-filled daze, I'm fairly certain they thought I was crazy. But I finally got them to understood, despite my hysteria and their sleepiness. They finally understood. They've taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they've put him. So Peter and John ran towards the tomb. I followed, but I just couldn't keep up. I was already so out of breath and oh so afraid. When I finally got back to the tomb, Peter and John were both inside. So I went in with them, and we saw there the linen strips that had wrapped his body, the cloth that had been over his head. Maybe we wanted to believe there was a miracle. Maybe we were remembering how he said that he could raise the temple in 3 days. Is this what he meant? Well, we were skeptical believers, to say the least. We wanted so badly to be right, but we knew the improbability of it all. We should have remembered Jesus was never a very probable person. Peter and John didn't stay there at the tomb very long, no matter what kind of miracle might have happened. Pilate had still crucified Jesus. The same would happen to his followers if we weren't careful. I stayed, though, there alone. I wasn't afraid of the guards. I knew they'd ignore a woman who was there alone. And I have to confess, I really am not sure I believed a miracle had happened at that point. I was just hoping that whoever had taken his body would come back, and they would tell me where he was. The uncertainty of not knowing was almost more than I could bear. As I stood there crying, I stooped and looked into the tomb one more time. I don't know what I thought I'd see, but what I did see was incredible. There were 2 angels sitting there where Jesus' body should have been. And they looked at me and said, "Woman, why are you weeping?" I said, "They've taken away my Lord. They've taken away my Lord, and I don't know where they've put him." Before the angel could respond, I heard a noise behind me. And I turned and looked. And there was a man standing there, and through my tears, I couldn't see. I assumed it was the gardener. And I said to him, if you've taken my Lord, tell me where you've put him so I can take him to be with me. And softly, softly and tenderly as only he could do, he said my name, Mary. Rabboni, Rabboni, my Jesus!